can remember when I decided to become an architect. I was 15, and it was in maths class. And the teacher went, when we were doing various problems, I used to often ask him, well, what sort of person would have to deal with that sort of problem? And one day when he was explaining one problem, he said at the end of it, and before you even ask, Errol, the sort of person who would have to deal with that kind of problem would be an architect. And I thought, yeah. And the thought's been with me ever since. Just haven't managed to shake it off.
The parallels between music and architecture are quite strong, and at the same time are quite different. There's similarities for me in the sense of starting with an idea and developing that idea and seeing how far you can push it and how far you can take it, and also in terms of following something through and having a continuity of thought and action towards some prescribed kind of goal, be it a piece of music or a building. So the way you operate is very similar. They're different in the sense of, in architecture, you're after a specific goal. Normally you're trying to solve someone's problems in terms of a commission that they've given you, a specific sort of building. Music is not necessarily like that. Unless you've been commissioned to write a specific piece of music, you're looking for a specific piece of music. That it's different a lot of the other time, because all you're trying to do is to respond to the moment as the creative impulse flies by, and be true to that creative impulse and be true to that piece of music as it directs you. So there is quite a bit of difference as well as similarity.
So I'm a full-time practicing architect, and in my other time I'm a working musician. Now in that there's some difficulties, just in the questions of time, really. I often feel the I don't know if strain's the right word, but the pressure of not really having enough time to carry out the business of being a musician, and I would like to be able to give it more time. And so when I went to my second guitar craft course in New Zealand, I tackled that issue with the guy that ran the course. And so I had some lengthy conversations with the guy that runs guitar craft, and he's a very experienced professional musician. And he said, if you were a full-time professional musician, you wouldn't have any more time to write or to practice or to chase up all the ideas that you're interested in, because the business side of being a musician would just soak up all of that time. So you wouldn't have any more time, which was encouraging news.
Let's see if this makes sense. Music is basically a benevolent presence, in my experience, that's available to us all. And what I do as a musician is that I make myself available to that presence. Another way of saying it is that there's music is right there. And my job is to take them from there and via playing an instrument, bring them into being. And now there are various barriers between some people and this benevolent presence. Some people have very small barriers. Some people have no barriers at all. They would be what you would call a genius. And there's not many of them. And some people they see themselves as having extremely large barriers. Now, the mechanics for me as a musician that are available to me to take this music from here and make it work. I have my head and my hands and my heart. They're the three things that I can use. The heart's basically to do with the sensitivity. Now the barriers you can have in your head is there can be too much noise in there.
And if you've got noise in there, it's difficult to hear what the music wants to do. It's difficult to hear the music in the first place. I use Alexander technique to help me with the noise. And especially if I'm practicing at night, I find the Alexander technique helpful because I will do it before I practice, and it helps me get rid of the noise that's there at the end of the working day. People that I studied with in 2 short courses is called Guitar Craft, and they have these wonderful aphorisms for everyday use. One is, music is the cup that holds the wine of silence. Another is, there's more to hearing than meets the ear. Another one that I found extremely useful to keep repeating to myself is, work is serious, but never solemn. Discipline is not an end in itself, it is a means to an end. Discipline is a vehicle for joy. And one I really like, good time is being in step with ourselves. And on and on and on. Achieve silence. I'm not ready. I can't quite achieve silence yet, but if you can't achieve silence, at least achieve quiet. I can do that. Failing that, shut up. The other sort of barriers that you can have is that you operate your instrument with your hands. Now, your hands and the musician as a whole, the idea is that you become a well-oiled, efficient piece of machinery at the service of music. Now, if your hands aren't working efficiently, you're not going to be this well-oiled piece of machinery. Like, if there's the excess movement and flicking around and tension and force in the hand, this is a barrier between the music and you making it, because they're the actual things that make the noise. In my hands, the areas I have to work on, looking at it in a positive way, that there's far too much movement, and I do what a lot of musicians, you'll see a lot of guitarists do, is that these fingers here, they do a merry little dance of their own while they're playing, or point upwards at the heavens. This is not good. This is not how it's done. So I'm working on that as well. I do have a guitar student that I make an honourable attempt to teach. Don't feel qualified to call myself a guitar teacher, because there's just so much that I don't know, and really wouldn't feel terribly honourable calling myself a teacher. But I do have John Dutton as a student for various reasons, basically because he really wants to learn. And there are some things that I do have quantifiable that I know about, that I can help him with. And I can recognise the areas he needs to work on as a guitarist, and I can guide him in those areas. His problems are basically the same as mine, really. And it's been very, very rewarding, because in the 6 months that I've been tutoring him, he's come along 1,000,000%. And that's great. It's not really Schwarzenegger wide, it's just naturally wide. And the head. Because it's it. Performing is the real acid test of being a musician. It may be a bland, sweeping generalisation, but just about anyone can sound good on a record, given enough money. Live is different. There's a lot more at stake. And I believe that You can't really fool people live either. You can fool them on record, but it's pretty damned hard to fool people live, especially a rock audience, because they see through pretense very quickly. Now, there are three parties involved live. There's the music, there's the audience, and there's the performer. And the idea is that you get this to work properly and all three become one, and things can really happen then.
This is a new piece again. It's about energy. You know what I mean. This is called Pulse.